Number 1. Resurrection Mary. Along the dark stretch of Archer Avenue, one of Chicago's most enduring legends still walks the roadside. Locals call her Resurrection Mary, a young blonde woman in a white party dress who appears late at night near Resurrection Cemetery. Her story began in the 1930s, when a girl matching her description died in a car accident after leaving a dance at the Willowbrook Ballroom. Dozens of drivers, over the years, have claimed to pick her up. They describe a polite, quiet woman who gives only short answers,
Oh my God!
then suddenly disappears when the car nears the cemetery gates. Her glowing figure has even been spotted by police officers and passers-by who swear they saw her along the roadside. The legend of Resurrection Mary stands out because it feels timeless. People from every generation have told the same story, often without knowing each other, yet describing her exactly the same way. Many believe she was a real person, perhaps Mary Bregovy, who died in a car crash in 1934, but no one truly knows for sure. Even today, on foggy nights, drivers along Archer Avenue say they still see her pale figure walking the shoulder of the road, barefoot and alone. Whether she's looking for her lost dance partner or trying to find peace, Resurrection Mary remains one of the most haunting and heartbreaking spirits in Chicago's history.
I don't like coming to this cemetery alone.
Why not?
This is where you can find Resurrection Mary.
Number 2. The Water Tower's Hanging Ghost. When the Great Chicago Fire of 1871 tore through the city, almost everything burned.
There is fire everywhere.
One of the few buildings that survived was the old Water Tower, now one of Chicago's most famous landmarks. But according to legend, its survival came at a terrible cost. As the fire raged, a brave pump operator stayed behind to keep water flowing, determined to save his city. Trapped by the flames with no way out, he made a desperate choice. He decided to die inside the tower rather than be consumed by the fire. Not long after the disaster, stories of a ghost began to spread. People passing by at night claimed to see the shadow of a man hanging in the tower's upper window. Firefighters and tourists over the years have reported the same eerie sight, a faint silhouette swaying in the flickering light. Others said they could hear the sound of dripping water and heavy footsteps echoing through the stone walls when the tower was empty. The tale of the Water Tower ghost endures because it captures the courage and tragedy of that night.
I wonder if I'll ever see that ghost, the hero who protected this city from fire.
Today, visitors walk past the Water Tower without realizing that Chicago's oldest ghost might still be watching from above. And when the city lights reflect just right on the old stone, some say you can still see his shadow in the window. Number 3. Father Damon's Vigilant Spirit. In the heart of Chicago's near west side stands Holy Family Church, one of the city's oldest and most beautiful parishes. When the Great Fire struck in 1871, flames approached the church, and Father Damon prayed through the night that it might be spared.
Please, God, protect our church from the fire.
The fire miraculously stopped just short of its doors, and the church survived almost untouched. After Father Damon's death in 1890, strange reports began to surface. Parishioners claimed they saw the figure of a priest walking the aisles during evening services or heard footsteps in the empty church long after closing. Some described a tall, glowing man in robes kneeling at the altar, while others said they felt a comforting presence while praying. Everyone agreed that it could only be Father Damon, keeping his promise to watch over his flock. Even at nearby St. Ignatius College Prep, which he founded, students and teachers have shared stories of feeling his presence. Doors would open on their own, books fell from shelves, or the faint sound of chanting echoed through the halls when no one was there. Instead of fear, those who encountered him spoke of peace, as if Father Damon's spirit remained to guide them. Today, both Holy Family Church and St. Ignatius still stand as lasting monuments to faith and resilience.
I wonder if Father Damon's spirit still protects the Holy Family Church.
Number 4. The Death Alley Ghosts. On a cold December afternoon in 1903, the Iroquois Theater in downtown Chicago was packed with families watching a matinee performance. Without warning, a stage light sparked and ignited the curtain, turning the beautiful new theater into a death trap. Over 600 people lost their lives that day. And from that day forward, it became known as Death Alley. Soon after, strange stories began to spread. People walking through the alley at night claimed to hear the echo of screams, the faint sound of music, or the desperate cries. Some reported feeling a cold hand brush their shoulder or seeing hazy shapes moving in the darkness. Others swore they saw ghostly figures in fine 1900s clothing wandering aimlessly. Over the years, workers from nearby theaters and buildings shared unsettling encounters. Lights flickered without cause, doors slammed, and an unexplainable smell of smoke filled the air, even on clear days. Paranormal investigators who visited the site spoke of voices recorded on tape and mysterious shadows captured on camera. Today, Death Alley is an ordinary narrow street near the Nederlander Theater. Yet, those who walk through after dark say it still carries an eerie silence. They believe the ghosts of the Iroquois theater victims remain trapped in the place where laughter turned to terror.
I just heard someone crying.
I think those are the spirits that still linger in this place.
Number 5. Al Capone and the ghost of his victim.
If you were wondering, I rule this city.
During the Prohibition era, few names carried more power or fear than Al Capone. But even a man as ruthless as Capone couldn't escape his past. Those who knew him said that in his final years he was haunted, literally, by the ghost of one of his own victims. According to those close to him, Capone became tormented by the spirit of James Jimmy Clarke, one of the men killed in the 1929 St. Valentine's Day. People reported hearing Capone shouting at an invisible presence, begging it to leave him alone.
It keeps telling me his name is Jimmy.
Even in his mansion in Florida, the haunting followed him. Capone eventually turned to spiritualists, hoping they could rid him of the ghost. Nothing worked. His once fearsome reputation crumbled as his health and mind deteriorated, but his fear of the spirit never faded. Some say that in the quiet halls of his old haunts, especially the Congress Plaza Hotel, both Capone's ghost and Jimmy Clark's can still be felt, locked in an eternal confrontation. Today, visitors claim to hear faint whispers, footsteps, and even the sound of Capone's old violin being played late at night. Whether it's guilt, imagination, or a restless spirit seeking revenge, many believe the ghost that haunted Chicago's most infamous gangster never let him go. Number 6. The Murder Castle Hauntings. During the 1893 World's Fair, thousands came to Chicago to witness the marvels of modern progress. But only a few blocks away, a man named H. Holmes built something far darker, a hotel later known as the Murder Castle. To the public, it seemed like any other boarding house, but inside was a maze of hidden rooms, trapdoors, and secret passages designed for one purpose: murder. Holmes lured victims, often young women, into his hotel, never to be seen again. After Holmes was captured and hanged in 1896, the building burned down, but the horrors inside were never forgotten. Locals began to speak of strange lights flickering in the ruins and cries echoing from underground tunnels.
Wow. You feel a strong spiritual energy in this place.
Workers who helped rebuild the site reported hearing footsteps and voices when no one else was there. Some even claimed to see Holmes himself, a tall man in a black hat, standing in the shadows before vanishing. In time, the lot was turned into a U.S. post office, but the hauntings continued. Employees reported feeling watched, hearing whispers, and seeing ghostly figures move through the basement, the very place where Holmes's victims are believed to have perished. Few are willing to work there alone after dark. Number 7. The Woman in White of Hull House. Before Hull House became one of America's most famous social reform centers, it was simply a grand brick mansion, built in 1856 by Charles Hull. Tragedy soon struck when Hull's wife passed away in the home, and locals claimed her spirit never left. When reformer Jane Addams later moved in and opened Hull House to help Chicago's poor, she too began hearing strange sounds in the old rooms. Footsteps echoed upstairs, and a faint presence seemed to linger in the halls. Visitors and residents alike reported seeing a woman dressed in white, gliding through the second-floor hallway or standing silently by a window. They believed it was the ghost of Mrs. Hull, mourning the loss of her child, who had also died young. Addams herself admitted that unexplained things happened inside the home, and she often said the mansion carried an air of mystery. Even workers who came decades later spoke of lights turning on by themselves and cold spots appearing in the same upstairs room where Mrs. Hull had died. Rather than frightening people, her spirit became a quiet reminder of the home's long and emotional history. Today, Hull House stands as a museum on Chicago's west side, its walls filled with stories of kindness and compassion. Yet visitors say that when the house falls silent, you can still feel her presence.
Honey, do you hear her crying?
Yes, I believe that is Mrs. Hull.
A gentle spirit in white, watching over the place she once called home. Number 8. Inez Clarke. At Chicago's historic Graceland Cemetery stands a glass box protecting a life-size statue of a little girl. Her name is Inez Clarke, and for more than a century, her grave has been the focus of one of the city's most touching ghost stories. According to legend, Inez was struck by lightning and killed while playing outside in 1880. Her parents, heartbroken, commissioned the statue in her memory, capturing her forever in stone, umbrella by her side, frozen in innocence. Soon after, strange stories began to spread. During thunderstorms, visitors swore the statue vanished from its glass case, only to reappear when the rain ended. Cemetery workers told of hearing a child's laughter among the headstones, or of seeing a small figure running between the graves before disappearing. Some even claimed the little girl would tap softly on the glass as if asking to be let out. Others believe Inez's spirit is not sad but playful, a child still exploring her favorite resting place. Parents who visit often find small toys or flowers left behind by others who felt touched by her story. Over time, her grave has become a symbol of love that refuses to fade even beyond death.
Sometimes I can hear her playing.
Number 9. The Italian Bride. In Mount Carmel Cemetery rests one of Chicago's most mysterious graves. It belongs to Giulia Bucalapetta, remembered forever as the Italian Bride. Her mother, Philomena, was consumed by grief.
I can still see her in my dreams.
And began having vivid dreams of Giulia, begging to be freed from her grave. 6 years later, Philomena convinced authorities to exhume the coffin, and what they found shocked everyone. Giulia's body was perfectly preserved, her skin soft and lifelike, as if she had just been buried. Above her grave, Philomena built a life-sized statue of Giulia in her bridal gown, and placed a photograph of her daughter's uncorrupted face beneath it, proof of what she believed was a miracle. But even after this discovery, strange things continued to happen. Locals visiting the cemetery reported seeing a young woman in a white dress walking between the tombs, often near Giulia's grave.
Oh my God! Did you see that?
Some said she smiled kindly before vanishing, while others felt the brush of a hand or caught the faint scent of flowers. To this day, Giulia's statue stands tall among the headstones, drawing visitors from around the world. Whether her preserved body was a scientific mystery or a sign from beyond, her story continues to fascinate. Number 10. John Dillinger's Ghost. In the summer of 1934, America's most wanted man met his end on a crowded Chicago street. John Dillinger, the infamous bank robber, had escaped the law time and time again. But on July 22nd, the FBI finally caught up with him outside the Biograph Theater in Lincoln Park. His death made headlines across the nation. Soon after the shooting, strange reports began to emerge. People walking through the alley claimed to see the shadow of a man darting between the walls, only to disappear. Theater employees spoke of flickering lights, cold drafts, and the faint sound of footsteps pacing the balcony when no one was there. Over the years, visitors to the biograph and nearby streets have shared the same eerie feeling, a sudden chill, a flicker of movement, or the sense of being watched. Many believe it's Dillinger himself, trapped in the place where he took his final steps. The ghost of America's most famous outlaw, it seems, can't resist one last escape.
Let's get out of here.
Yeah, let's go.
Today, the theater still stands as a Chicago landmark, and the alley where Dillinger fell is now known as Dillinger Way. At night, some say they can see his spirit lingering near the brick walls, forever haunted by the moment his life ended. The outlaw who once outran everyone may still be running, just on the other side of the veil. Number 11. Clarence Darrow's return. Few men in American history were as brilliant or as bold as Clarence Darrow. Known for defending the unpopular and the accused, he became one of Chicago's most famous lawyers. He fought for workers' rights, defended murderers in the famous Leopold and Loeb case, and stood for science during the Scopes monkey trial. When he died in 1938, his ashes were scattered near the Jackson Park Lagoon, behind the Museum of Science and Industry. But Darrow wasn't done making his case. Not long after his death, people began to notice something unusual. On cool mornings near the lagoon, a tall man in an overcoat was often seen standing by the water, hands clasped behind his back, gazing toward the bridge named in his honor. When approached, the figure would fade into thin air. Museum employees and joggers have reported similar sightings for decades. Each year on the anniversary of his death, admirers gather at the site for what's called the Darrow Seance, hoping to make contact with the great defender. While no clear message ever arrives, strange things have been known to happen. Cold breezes from nowhere, rippling water without wind, and the quiet sound of footsteps on the bridge. To this day, Chicagoans believe Darrow kept his promise.
Fight for what you believe is right.
Before he died, he said that if there was life after death, he'd return to prove it. And perhaps he did. Number 12. The Woman in Red. When the Drake Hotel opened its doors on New Year's Eve of 1920, it was the height of glamour and excitement. Chicago's elite gathered for champagne, dancing, and celebration. Among them was a young woman dressed in a stunning red gown, ready to ring in the new year with her fiancé. But when she entered the Gold Coast room, she found him in the arms of another woman.
I can't believe it.
Devastated and humiliated, she fled upstairs to the 10th floor and, in a moment of heartbreak, leapt from the window. Not long after, guests began to report seeing her again. A beautiful woman in a red evening gown wandering the hotel's hallways, her expression sad but serene. She appeared near the ballroom where she once danced, in the Palm Court, and even outside along Michigan Avenue, glowing faintly under the street lights. The staff came to call her the Woman in Red. Some described the faint scent of perfume filling an empty elevator, or the soft sound of a woman's sob just before a door closes on its own. Unlike other hauntings, hers carries no menace, only the sorrow of a broken heart that refuses to fade. Today, nearly a century later, guests at the Drake still toast to her memory. her spirit remains one of Chicago's most famous ghosts, a symbol of lost love and the haunting beauty of a moment frozen in time.
If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button.
And don't forget to subscribe to the channel.
See you in the next one.